Welcome back, fight fans, for episode 61 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We've missed you. I know you've missed us, but we've got a big episode ahead. We've got two returning guests to the show this week. First up, Tim Shady Smith. He's got a fight Friday night in Unified MMA, looking for a big bounce back win. So be sure to tune in and cheer him on. And then Tuesday night, we've got Jeffery. He's a hometown hero fighting on Dana White Contender Series, looking to secure that UFC contract and just really build on his already impressive resume. So make sure to tune into those interviews later on in the show. But first off, we've got some hot headline news. Looking back at the Bellator pay-per-view from the weekend, Dana White Contender Series this week. Looking ahead to some of the big fights that were just announced, as well as some of these new MMA organizations that will be coming onto the scene here in 2023. But then the biggest segment, the one you're all tuning in for, Easy Lines, getting ahead of that book. We've got Z Ballers, who's been doing a lot of research. He spun up a few different algorithms and has a few winners to share with y'all. So without further ado, Zoni, why don't you kick things off with hot headline news?
Yes, we'll speak like recency bias here. Last night, Dana White Contender Series Week 4. It was hard to top off last week because last week was unbelievable. But some really good fights last night and some amazing prospects that earned contracts. One of them was Victor Martinez. This guy, lost the first round, but he's known to be the guy kind of like a Rocky where he gets beat up and then wears them out and then comes back. He actually secured the Dana White Contender Series record for most strikes landed, which was fantastic. The guy came forward, tough as nails, amazing win. The other couple of guys, Clydeson Rodriguez, this guy, watch out for this guy in the flyweight division. He had I can't even count, but 20 to 30 spinning attacks, and most of them landed. This guy's really exciting. And for the flyweight division moving forward, he's going to be an absolute problem. Michael Morales, this is the guy I'm really high on. Dana White said he never takes guys this young, but he had to because he thinks he might be champion one day. This guy's 21 years old and last night got to 12-0. He's from Ecuador and shows a ton of talent. Going to be unreal. And then obviously AJ Dobson was the last guy, the main event. It looked like someone was going to go out in the first 30 seconds. It just banged punches right back at each other, just like one of the old school Forrest Griffin fights. And he secured the win fairly easily. Didn't even have the hooks in, choked him right out, got the contract, and he's going to be a problem as well. So another week of Dana White Contender Series, another exciting card. Couldn't be more excited for next week, though. Like you said, Kron's return guest, Jeffery. I believe he's the third fight out of 5. This guy has only lost to guys in the UFC who have been absolutely killing it. Sean Brady, Brendan Allen. And this guy is, he's got all the talent in the world. Watch him next Tuesday. Fantastic.
So why don't we slide into a bit of a controversy from Saturday night? Yoel Romero, headline fight, right? Making his Bellator debut. I guess honest mistake. Is that what you call it? He thought the fight was 5 rounds. 3rd round ended. He lost in a decision. And I don't know. Was it an excuse? Was he serious? What do you think, Z? Break that down for us.
Yeah, no, it was really, really surprising that, who knows? It's still a mystery, right? Because I don't know how no one sees 5 rounds in this contract. Not a business manager. No one thought to mention it to y'all. Hey, this is a 5-round thing. There's training, there's main training guys as coaches. They never had conversations around this about strategy, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. They never talked about this. So that's kind of the confusing part for me is that's where it starts to become a little unbelievable. Maybe it is. Maybe it's true, right? I have no idea. Maybe, Yoel at this age, he's, obviously fighting more for a paycheck than anything else at this point. So maybe he really didn't check the fine print, so to speak. But usually when you're looking at the bout, I would imagine you look somewhat closely at the bout rules when you're getting into a professional fight like this. So yeah, it was surprising. It's still a mystery to me, but I'm gonna have to lean towards Yoel Romero. Just because it's Yoel Romero, I'm gonna have to believe him. I guess I believe him, but it's hard to say.
If I can add just two things. One, three things. One, it was hilarious to see him complaining. Two, the next day, Scott Coker actually said, you know what, I think Bellator is going to consider doing 5-round non-title fights for their main events. So he's kind of covering up Romero's mistake, but also kind of adding on to what UFC does already for their fight nights. And three, he said Romero at 205, looked okay, but he said that he's probably going to fight the winner of Mousasi and Paige Van Zant's boyfriend, Vanderford. So he immediately loses one in Bellator, and he looks like he might get the title shot because it's such a weak division at 185. So, he did lose that one. He thought it was 5 rounds, supposedly, but it looks like he's going to get a title shot at 185 moving forward. So it worked out for him.
Yeah. Regardless, I thought it was hilarious. I was howling.
Yeah.
So that's one weird thing. How about this weird thing? The scorecards. Okay, so 30-27, yeah, that's realistic. 30-26, that's actually what I had. And then 28 for Davis, 29 for Romero. Like, in what world do you see a 10-8 round and the other judge saying, oh no, he won that?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely insane.
That's I was
some corruption going on there, right, of some sort, because it doesn't make sense.
In no world did he win 2 rounds out of 3. In no world.
Agreed. Some sort of fixing went on because it's his Bellator debut. They want to market the shit out of him, prop him up here, and maybe Scott Coker's like, judge him favorably. I don't know.
I think maybe Evander Kane had something to do with it, but
yeah, exactly. Well, he wasn't the soldier of God. He was the statue of God, as usual, just sitting in there. His eye still looks more fucked than ever. Like I don't know how he's still fighting with that one. He's basically got a Bisbee eye. So it's
that lack of output. How do you get in the ring and just kind of mope around?
Yeah,
expect to win.
Especially in your debut, usually you want
right.
You're not nervous. You're not in the UFC. You're actually, dropping down to Bellator. And,
but isn't his whole mantra to blitz guys and just fucking stalk them down?
Yeah.
He looked like a shell of his former.
And especially with Davis and his game plan all the time, the one thing that you're going to lose on is the takedowns and the pressure. If you're not giving the pressure, you're going to lose that fight. He lost the fight before even the bell even went to begin the fight. So
yeah. I honestly think it's because he's changed so much because of that damage he took in those Whitaker fights, and he can't see in that eye anymore. So he can't blitz forward anymore because he can't even see. So he just waits for them to make moves on him, and then he react. But if the other guy's afraid of him for obvious reasons as well, so the other guy doesn't do a whole lot either. So I mean, that's just a theory behind the scenes, but who knows what's going on there exactly? But he's fighting a lot different. And Bella, he's probably getting paid $300K to show or something like that, maybe a bit more. So he takes that to the bank and sits out there,
and now gets a title shot at 185. So good for him.
It works out for him always.
Yeah, that's kind of just a weird series of events there, but hey, that's what makes us tune in, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, otherwise decent card, I'd say. Nothing too crazy.
Naaman Gracie actually looked great. He actually finished on the feet, which we probably all thought it was going to be a submission. He blitzed Lemminger, and he actually looked awesome. So
absolutely. Rogers big win over Georgie there. Nice upset for him. Same with Bennett over Lara.
Yeah, how about Lara? We were chirping her. She spent 90% of her energy walking out and doing these fucking dances like the Joker and dancing around, and she exerted so much energy doing that, and then she got absolutely smoked.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey kids out there, whoever's watching and tuning in, that's something you don't do.
no,
You don't show up your opponent before the
just
fight even
laughing.
begins. Do that after if you have energy left. Like, she dug her own grave.
Oh,
You know.
and good on Bennett too, because her dad passed away and it was dedicated to him. So I mean, you know,
feel good story.
Yeah.
Nice to see that underdog. Get the W, right? So anyways, I know there's a few big announcements of new matches upcoming here and the fourth quarter leading up to the new year. Do you guys want to maybe break those down and potential implications of those?
So yeah, I mean, for the upcoming fights, one of the main ones I'm thinking about as a little bit of a controversy is Rose taking on Zhang Wei Li again, that rematch happening, because a lot of people are saying Carla Esparza should be the one that's deserves the next shot there with her, the win streak that she's on. But of course, UFC wants that exposure to the Chinese market. It's worth a lot more money if they have some sort of Chinese champion, so they're giving her the shot again. So I can't necessarily blame them in terms of business sense, but sports sense, Carla does deserve that shot. But it will be an exciting fight yet again. Rose's fights were always exciting, so I am excited for the fight. But leave a comment below if in terms of your opinion of what you may think if that's still a good match, or is there a little kind of backroom dealing there with the UFC?
What do you think about that one, Tony?
That one specifically?
Yeah, I want to comment on that card after.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Z, to be honest with you. Esparza, like if it's unfortunate, her fight style isn't a moneymaker. She wins fights, but it's grinding out. Wei Li obviously, got caught with that high kick. I think she poses much more of a risk to Rose than Esparza does, but I'll let you continue, Kronz, but I wanted to say quick, Marina Rodriguez and Mackenzie Dern, that's the fight I'm going to be looking at in that division. Those two are killers, and I think if someone finishes someone in that fight, they might even leapfrog Esparza. So, but you can continue there.
Yeah, no, that's an upcoming one for sure. Just in general, though, that card, looking at the odds, and sometimes when you see like a dominant finish win, usually they're the heavy favorite, and that fight's like a pick 'em right now. So that's interesting.
Very interesting.
Kind of an underrated card, right? You got Usman Covington on that one. You got Gaethje Chandler. You got Chito Vera versus Frankie Edgar. Strickland versus Rockhold. Like,
that's a banger.
Unreal.
That's a pretty good
That's
card.
A banger. That's a banger.
Yeah.
But just flying under the radar too. Like, it's not getting all the press, or like, at least maybe it's early. It's November 6th.
Maybe it might after this weekend. It might actually.
Could be. And
but you're right. It's
maybe
like
circle that one on your
Chandler, calendar. Like that is complete fireworks.
Right?
That would be unreal.
So sick.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know, man. That one's circled for me. So anyways, what other big announcements have you guys seen the last few weeks?
Yeah, the Adesanya and Whitaker one. I mean, we all love Whitaker, and we all respect Adesanya for what he's done. For me, it's hard to say. I don't even really want to admit it, but I think Adesanya is a really bad matchup for Whitaker. I hope it ends differently this time, but we'll see. Interesting enough, though, on the same point is, Pereira being signed to the UFC, the only guy to knock out Israel, and many people commenting on, the fact that he is signed to the UFC now and Adesanya is scared and all this stuff. At some point, I hope the guy does get a couple of wins and they can actually make that a mixed martial arts fight. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Not just stand up, but I mean, does he end up maybe trying to take Pereira down? That's probably a year away, but interesting enough that he did get signed to the UFC, and it could happen. So something to maybe look forward to. But Whitaker Adesanya, amazing. We got a big heavyweight fight this weekend. We got Glover and Jan Blachowicz coming up soon too. And there's one other one I was thinking of. Oh, just Giga Chikadze calling out Holloway. It's not official. Holloway is supposed to fight Yair Rodriguez. So we'll see what happens here. I'd love to see Giga and Holloway. I think Giga deserves it. And I think it's a tough matchup for Holloway. So we'll see what happens there.
Totally. Cool. Z, any on your radar of ones to keep an eye out for?
No, that was pretty much it for me. That's all the ones I'm the only one that's kind of newer to me is that Whitaker and Israel fight. I think that one's a great one, and makes total sense at least, right? Like in terms of like some of these rematches that are happening, you're like, don't know quite about it. So even with the Colby one, right? But this one, you know, Whitaker's he's been beating people Till, Gastelum, right, most recently. So and he's made it look. You know, he's shown he's a complete fighter. I think that's going to be a great fight, and Izzy's going to have to be ready for it. Even though he, you know, knocked him out last time, I think it's going to be a different Bobby Knuckles this time around.
Yeah, and let me ask you quick, Z, since you're a huge Fig fan and I'm a Marino fan at flyweight. Like, how do you see that third one playing out? What do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. That one's another one where actually, even though I'm a huge Figgy fan, another rematch that I don't really know should be happening, but they've just made so much money. There's no one else at flyweight that's big names necessarily, at least in the UFC's mind. So they're just making this rematch happening again. It's hard to say what I'm going to do, take it on the easy lines right now, but I mean, for me, what scares me is just Figgy's cut to that 125. He's not a 125er, he's a 135er. So it's always putting himself in like a compromised position whenever he has to cut to that 125. So that's the only thing that scares me. I think if he fought a 135, like if he fought Cody Garbrandt, I think that would be an amazing fight, but and be pretty equally matched. But
and just while you said that, Garbrandt,
yeah.
if he beats Kai Kara France, just because of the name, he's going to get the next shot. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to have to go with Figgy in the rematch, I think, but that's going to be a tough one for me. I have to look at all those type of odds. But Marino, he's clearly like one of the gutsiest fighters in the UFC. His toughness is unmatched, even though it's those lower levels or lower weight classes where people don't seem to have as much limelight on them. You know, pound for pound, I think he's one of the best in terms of that. But yeah, maybe like one of the last hot headline news we'll talk about there is Diaz, because that might segue into our next little part here with the easy lines. But Diaz, you know, supposedly rumor wise getting kind of hurt that way, or getting hurt. Who was it? Josh Thompson was saying on his podcast that him and John McCarthy somehow got a hold of the video, or someone showed it to them, that Diaz getting hurt. He comes out and says it next episode of his podcast. He comes out and apologizes. Doesn't say, you know, I lied or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He just said, you know, shouldn't have said anything. That's my bad. All that type of stuff. So, you know, now it's a little bit of a question here. What kind of shape Diaz is in? He hasn't fought in a while, so we already didn't know what we were getting with him, and now it's looking even more a little bit more questionable and scary. But Zone, what did you think when you first heard that?
Yeah, I actually heard it from you. I mean, I want to know who knocked him out if that's what happened. Just curious. This fight is just so tough to call, and we'll get into it. You got to break down of that, but it's just like Lawler says, no matter what happens, win or lose, he's going to continue fighting after this fight. Diaz, obviously, how long has it been? Like 8 years or something? Like
6 years, 2015.
Yeah, and like you don't really ever lose like your skill set, but you lose a step, you lose not being in the ring. Obviously they said he was partying and drinking a lot. That never usually ends well. Just like Connor, right? Like you start partying, it's hard to come back. Like, I don't know, man. I'm so split on this one for Saturday, but we'll talk about that more. But in terms of the injury, I mean, just he skipped the media stuff today. Like, it's nothing new with this guy and the brother Nate. So I don't know. Well, I really don't even know what to say. These guys are fucking retarded. So
Yeah. Well, part of the rumor is that too. I mean, Josh Thompson, he didn't necessarily, I don't think he necessarily said really what the injury was. He just kind of was a little bit vague about stuff. So some of the theories online is that it's like a foot injury or a leg injury of some sort. That's why it went up to 185, is because he can't do that cardio as much right now. And so he can't lose the weight that he usually does due to this injury. So yeah, a lot of different floating around a lot of different kind of theories floating around out there. But what's great about this, it's all going to be answered in three nights or whatever, right? Saturday night. So, but I think that's a good little segue into easy lines here into Saturday.
I do want
night.
to talk WFL quick, just because.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Go ahead.
Like, I think it's a huge announcement. I've been doing some reading on it. For those who haven't heard of it, Ariel Helwani announced this on Instagram last week. It's a new fight league. It's been in the works since 2020. The stakeholders involved include current and former NFL players, NBA players, as well as MMA champions, and it sounds like music artists as well. And plans to launch in 2023, but is going to be radically different, operating more like a professional sports league with franchise owners, a CBA, and obviously a fighters union. Each one of these franchises, there's going to be 8 per division, 4 divisions. So North America, South America, Europe and Africa, and then APAC, which is Asia and Australia. They're going to have home and away games. So you go and you visit the 8 or 7 other teams in your division. The winning team per division goes on to the semifinals and then ultimately the championship. But it's pretty cool. Each franchise will be 24 fighters, 3 fighters per weight class, and they're going to have drafts and things like a normal professional sports league. So I'm super stoked about this. This could be what really truly brings MMA into the mainstream. And just reading about things like having a pension, having, insurance, 50-50 rev share, like that stuff we've been talking since episode 1 about that, right? So it's kind of nice to see that this is gaining some steam, and it sounds like it was set up as a non-for-profit here in early May of 2021. So it is legitimate. They have a logo. Sounds like Ariel's going to be one of the key kind of spokesperson, if not the spokesperson for it. So just something to put on your radar. We should see more in the coming months. And looks like it's going to be going live here in, I guess, a year and a couple months from now. So what do you guys think about something like that?
Honestly, just whatever you just said there, just very excited. It's going to put perspective on the game. It's going to put everyone on the map. It's going to increase, the revenue, like you said. I'm excited too. We'll see where it goes from here. But I mostly want to know, in Dana White's mind, what he's thinking of it. I'm very, very curious.
Yes, that poses a potential threat, right? Not only to lose top talent, but to lose viewership, sponsorship, and just market share in general, right?
Yeah, like obviously UFC 266 this weekend is absolutely unbelievable. We're going to get right to it. But if I was in that room and I was a media guy, the one question I'd ask is, what do you think about that announcement? Just to get a response.
I can't wait to see what he says. What do you think, Z, based on just the early news? I know it's not too detailed yet, but
I mean, I think it's great, right? Any competition is good for the sport overall. And I think it's going to bring, it sounds like they have a lot of innovative, like kind of different ways of kind of doing things than a lot of MMA promotions are kind of doing right now. So I think it's great, and it's going to force these other companies to kind of, like UFC and Bellator, let's say, to kind of maybe adjust their, some of their policies and things like that to attract the top fighters. Because, guys are, it's at the end of the day with the free market, that type of competition, they're going to make the decision that's best for them at the end of the day, right? In terms of money, I mean, that at the end of the day, it's prize fighting, right? So there's only so many situations like Mike Chandler or something, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm at the end of my career, made a bunch of money, let's just go to UFC and go for the gold. Like very few guys are going to kind of make that decision. So even though he's getting paid quite well, I think in UFC because they had to match Bellator stuff, but yeah, there's not a lot of guys that are going to sacrifice. So I think it's gonna bring a lot of interesting storylines kind of in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, it's almost like PFL took the first step forward in creating that, regular season and then playoffs. And then this kind of takes it to that next level to make it a legitimate, sports league. So yeah, very exciting, but not as exciting as these winning picks that we're going to be sharing with you. So can't wait to meet you at the cashier. Z-Ball, tee us up here for success. Let's get it.
Yeah, absolutely. So welcome back to another episode of Easy Lines, going into a big pay-per-view weekend. We have a record of 130 wins, 90 losses with a 59.1 win percent rate. And first we'll cover the main event, of course, which is the featherweight championship between current champion and favorite Alex Volkanovski, sitting at minus 175 right now, taking on the challenger and Brian Ortega, who's a plus 150. Volkanovski's been a 22-1 MMA record, bringing a 22-1 MMA record into this weekend. Hasn't lost a fight since 2013, coming off 2 straight decision wins over Max Holloway, 2 very impressive wins, especially after what we saw from Holloway in his last performance against Calvin Kattar, right? So this fight was scheduled earlier this year, but was delayed due to Alex testing positive for COVID. Had to train up his cardio and everything. So it looks to be in great shape and best shape as ever, as they always say in their camps, right? But truly, he does, looking from his social media embedded, he looks like back to be just his regular self, right? Ortega's coming off an impressive win himself, a victory over Korean Zombie, an amazing decision win, a great fight. His striking's clearly improved a lot since his last title challenge against Max Holloway in Toronto. He got his face basically butchered in that fight, but he's really shown a lot of growth in his defensive striking technique, in my opinion. Now, that being said, Zombie's nowhere near an all-around fighter that Alexander Volkanovski is. Ortega is going to be in a lot of trouble dealing with that overall volume that Alex brings to every fight. He really keeps people so busy, forcing his opponent to read and react to him as opposed to them implementing their own game plan. He's constantly jabbing, leg kicking, going for those level changes, which make his opponent really play at his pace and keep them hesitant. Even Max Holloway, had trouble with this, right? And he's really one of the best true volume strikers in the game as well. Ortega will have the advantage in jiu-jitsu for sure, of course. Alex will look to stay out of trouble there because if you hang out in his guard for too long, you're going to get yourself in trouble, right? There's a reason why they call him T-City. It's because he can throw up triangles on you in an absolutely expert level. That being said, though, I wouldn't say Ortega has advantage on the wrestling, though, right? Certainly the grappling in general, but I think we'll see Volkanovski be able to control Ortega with his strength, use his great scrambles to get out of dangerous situations and really continue soldiering on and wearing down Ortega. So, if you can't tell yet, I am leaning on Volkanovski for the fight. I do like him at minus 175. Look to parlay that with another fight or two we're going to talk about. Of course, you can go heavy on a single here if you really like it. If you can somehow find it at minus 165 or 160, that would be amazing. But they've all been kind of bet up now, right? Ortega always has a chance to catch people in a submission in the second or third round, right? As he's done in the past. There's been a couple fights there where he's been losing the beginning of the fight. And you're like, and the commentators are saying that, he needs a finish to win this fight. And lo and behold, he gets it. But, it didn't work against Holloway. I don't think it's going to work here against Alex. Alex by decision, plus 130. I like those odds as well. I don't see Volk being able to finish Ortega in this bout. So, but he'll definitely, wear him down, win 3 or 4 of the 5 rounds. But yeah, what are you guys thinking?
More of a gut feeling. I'm leaning towards Ortega here. I think it's a bad matchup for Volkanovski. Volkanovski's obviously got the resume to back it up. Ortega's finished everybody except for Korean Zombie in his wins. I just like him this weekend. I like where he's at. I like where his head was at last fight. And he's dangerous everywhere. So that's who I got, but I respect what you're saying. Can totally see that too.
Yep, I'm going Volk. I like his wrestling kind of to counter any of the grappling that Ortega brings to the table. Let's not forget Volkanovski used to weigh 215 pounds and played semi-pro rugby. So I like that core strength that he has. I also want to add a little edge. There was The Ultimate Fighter, as some of you might have watched, and apparently there was bad blood, and Volkanovski is very, very motivated to get the W here. Sometimes you see these guys on a long win streak, they get a bit complacent, they don't try as hard, they're out celebrating. I don't think that's the case here, and I think he's looking for blood. I'm going Volk, I'm going on the over, and I'm going Volk by decision. Let's get it.
All
Okay,
right, next. Yeah, no, I'll jump in there. Yeah, no, exactly. I was just gonna say, in terms of the next fight, we got the co-main event is the women's flyweight championship fight between Valentina taking on Lauren Murphy. No surprise here, Valentina, a huge favorite as always against her opponents at a whopping minus 1,400, and Murphy's a plus 800. That line's a little inflated in my opinion, and everyone has a puncher's chance. So, especially in MMA, so that plus 800 is a little bit much in my opinion. But of course, I'm not taking Murphy in this fight. But I am saying that line seems a little high. But what I am saying is just don't touch that Valentina line, right? At minus 1,400, not really worth it. I was watching the UFC countdown, and I love how the UFC always tries to make it look like Valentina and Amanda Nunes' opponents have some sort of chance, but no one we've seen recently, I don't really think have a chance against either one of them. I really respect Lauren Murphy as a fighter very much, and for challenging for the belt. I think she deserves it. I just don't see her getting it done here. I can see the commentary already a little bit like Anik, there's no, as Valentina's kind of, picking away at her mid second round, there's going to be Anik saying, there's no denying how tough Lauren Murphy is. And DC is going to be she's the toughest person in the UFC. And then, Felder coming in there, like, you got to give credit to Murphy. All those elbows she's eating and things like that. They're going to be trying to pump it up. But that finish by Valentina I think is coming at minus 225. Parlay with that, whatever you like. My value pick is Valentina to finish her in the third round at plus 550 by pretty much whatever she likes. But if Murphy can close the distance, grapple, make the fight ugly, that's her only chance of winning. I think if she tries to play on the outside, it's very dangerous. She's got to get in there in the clinch, look to control Valentina. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Valentina is going to be able to do what she does to everyone and put a beating on her opponents. But what are you guys thinking?
Cons?
well, I looking in the props here, I don't see finish via murder, so I don't know how to bet on that, but I will take by finish. Yes. Valentina is just too strong. I know Lauren comes from Alaska and been fighting grizzly bears her whole life, but I just don't think this is her fight Saturday. Zoni?
To be honest, Valentina should win, but if there's anybody that's going to beat her, I think it's Murphy or obviously Nunes if there's a third trilogy fight. Honestly, I'm going to be sprinkling some money on Murphy. It's insane. You can call it. A lot of people, most people, almost all people are saying Valentina. She's got all the skill set. I love the heart of Murphy. I watch her fights and there's just so much heart there. You can never count out heart. So stranger things have happened, and I'm going to sprinkle a few bucks on Murphy. So
we've seen bigger upset this year. So, hey, I don't think it's that crazy of a thing to think. So,
Yeah. Sorry, boys. Got to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Game of
fair enough. No,
probabilities.
well, like I said, in terms of the numbers, you got to that's what I mean. You almost have to sprinkle it. Like if you want to go even Murphy by, some sort of crazy finish plus 1600, boom. Like you don't got to put very much there to be riding to be having a sweat there, right? Having some good sweat. So I think I think it's worth it, certainly by the values. As I said at the very beginning of that breakdown, that line is still inflated in my opinion. No, even how good Valentina is, no one should be a plus 800 at the professional level, really, in my
I'm definitely
opinion.
going to be taking a sniff with Murphy.
little bump, let's say. But anyways, like up in the third fight, we got the people's main event of the evening for sure. It's a absolute classic welterweight fight between two vintage UFC fighters that have been around forever. Nick Diaz taking on Robbie Lawler. Lawler's a slight favorite at this point, minus 125. We're like Wednesday evening now. Diaz slight underdog at plus 100. Of course, this is going to be one of the hardest fights to call of the night, not just because of how close the odds are, but Diaz has been out of the fight game for 6 years now, so who knows what we're going to get with him exactly at this point. The old Nick Diaz would usually come out looking to provoke his opponents in whatever way possible to draw them into
lay
a
there
brawl.
in the middle of the mat and put his arm on his head.
Exactly. And that's just one example, right? Go back and watch the Lawler fight.
Yeah.
He was putting his hands up. He spooked him, as he said in the UFC countdown. He said himself that, because he didn't know Lawler didn't know how to react. And Lawler had a reputation for absolutely murdering people back then, as he still does, but he's just been fighting at an extremely high level, right? With some younger guys lately. But yeah, so looking to provoke his opponent, draw them into a brawl, right? That's exactly what Nick wants. That's when his cardio becomes weaponized. His opponents start to open their guard up more and throwing with him. Usually they can't keep up with the volume of these Diaz brothers, right? So puts their opponents at a disadvantage. But I don't believe we're going to see that same Nick Diaz here. We're going to see a more calm, calculated, professional Diaz in there, I believe. But who knows? I could be completely wrong with you never know with these brothers, right? He could go out there and feel the good vibes of the crowd or something, right? And it just starts to come out. Even still, I don't believe Lawler will be baited into that type of fight again at this point. Same as, well, that is what happened in their first matchup, but he was quite younger. That was 2004, right? Whatever, almost 20 years now. So they've both matured since then. I don't think that's going to happen here, but you never know. So again, as I said, hard fight to call. Lawler has always been a power puncher, so I think he'll look to land those overhands and hooks to end the fight, or at least do some damage, right? He'll look like likely to avoid the ground game action with Diaz, as Nick is very talented in that area. But wouldn't be surprised if Lawler does initiate some standing grappling, look to push him up against the fence, land body shots, control the pace of the fight, win the judges' scorecard at least that way. This is a 5-round fight. Hopefully they both remember that, unlike Yoel Romero. But and this fight continues to kind of push. As the fight continues, it will push the odds more into Nick Diaz's favor, in my opinion. As stated, his cardio is one of his greatest strengths, whereas Lawler is more of an explosive, athletic fighter, I would say. So he'll look to jump out early, try to finish him or damage him early. Nick has had problems in the past with cuts and skin around his eyes, right? So who knows how that's going to hold up exactly. Tough fight to call, boys. It's really, really hard for me. Lately Diaz, there's been some, he missed the media thing. We moved it up to 185. Rumors of him getting injured. It's really tough to kind of take him in this fight. But I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. Plus 100. He's the underdog. You never know what's gonna happen. And I mean, even plus 333. It could have, that looks like good value to me. I don't know. That looks like good value. Like round hit, he's going to be able to last. Look, he'll probably lose the first round, right? He'll lose the first or second round, maybe both. And come up with a finish in the third or fourth round. So fourth round plus 2,200. Nick Diaz, lovely
Yes.
value. Let's do something like that.
Sprinkle a couple of dollars.
Exactly. Just sprinkle a little, couple of bumps on that, and you'll be loving life. I think you'll be feeling it. You'll be enjoying the fight at the very least, right? I love doing that. Because the fourth round, like if it's still the fight's still going on, it's getting close. You're building that excitement. So I like those type of bets. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. What are you guys thinking for that one?
You go, Zone.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is like, really, it's there's no advice given here. Like I say, like I'm not giving advice. I'm obviously still going to be putting money on it. I still am torn. I'm split. I'm not going to decide until the day of. See what the weight cut's like, even though it's a 185 fight. See how he looks, and I'll make my decision Saturday. I will put money on it. No advice from me. It's too close. It's too many variables for me.
Yeah, I'm going Lawler only because the layoff for Diaz, I think, is not an advantage by any stretch. I don't think he got rest and now he's like healthier. No, he's older. He's what, almost 40 years old. And yeah, when you're relying on your cardio at that age, I don't think that's sustainable. If you're in your 20s, yeah, that's absolutely an advantage. At this age, I don't know if it is. So my gut, I've been flip-flopping on this one all week. But tonight, I'm thinking Lawler. So that's what's locked in my parlays. But you're right. It's a coin flip.
Yeah. Do you like Lawler by decision as well, plus 220, or him by finish plus 275?
I see it going the distance to whoever wins. So yes, I think there is some hidden value there to go Lawler by points. So yeah, good call out. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's because Diaz, like again, like his strength, even though it's not as good as his 40 years old, as I said, it is his one of his strengths himself personally is his cardio, right? So he probably will last to that bell, but tough to say, as we said, right? He's been out for a while. But the one thing I did want to mention as well, not a crazy full breakdown for this, but Curtis Blades versus Rosenstrike, great heavyweight fight. Blades, coming off a devastating knockout victory, loss, I should say. He got KO'd badly against Derek Lewis, right? But I think he's going to be able to bounce back from that. I think he was beating Derek Lewis before that happened. He got caught. I don't think that's going to happen this time against Rosenstrike, which is, I think Rosenstrike's 5'10" on a good day. But he's listed as like 6 feet or something on the UFC website. So yeah, I'm taking Blades. What I think is nice value here is Blades by decision at plus 220. I think he will be a little bit hesitant getting knocked out badly last time, right? I think he's gonna be a little more hesitant, look to implement more of a game plan, use his amazing wrestling. As we know, he has best wrestling in heavyweight division for sure. So yeah, I like that plus 220, but what about that fight, Zone? Do you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, one of my locks of the night. I also agree with Blades. I think he can get him down, and I think he grounds and pounds him G&P. That's one of my locks of the night, plus 110 for that. So I do agree with Blades getting the W. I just think he's going to make a statement on a big UFC pay-per-view card once he is in his comfort zone on the ground. I don't think Rosenstrike has great defense off his back when he's down. I think once he's down, he's going to be out. So that's my pick for that one.
Samesies.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Actually, now that I'm visualizing now that ground and pound finish, and I'm starting to sway a little bit more that way now, or at least really kind of consider that. But yeah, Curtis Blades minus 300, not the best value at money line, but he's easy to throw into a 1 or 2 parlays. That's going to add a little bit of juice on there. So yeah. Other than that, I didn't really have any strong opinions on anything else there, Zoni. So you go ahead and let us let them know what else you like.
All right. we'll start at the bottom. I got a few here, so not crazy breakdowns on each, just more just some of the research I've done and matchup purposes. To open up the card, Omar Morales, I think has, a ton of skill. He's good everywhere, and he's a -150. I like him money line. Matthew Semmelsberger, honestly, is fighting an absolute can. I don't understand why Sano is on this card. I really don't. Maybe it's because they anticipate him getting crushed. If I'm not mistaken, his record's 4-2. I don't know why he's on this. It's the only one without a props right now. I like Semmelsberger by finish. I think he's going to absolutely murder him. If not the first round, it'll be the second if he can escape. Tyla Santos, huge fan of her. Roxanne Modafferi's, been around the block a couple times. She's been around the sport forever. I really do not like this matchup for Modafferi, so I like Santos by finish at +260. It's favored that she wins by decision at -138. I think she finishes Roxanne. She's way better, way more athletic, younger. She is the future in the UFC for her weight class. So I really like that one. There's a couple other ones here quick. Interested to see what happens with the Dawkins fight, the heavyweight fight against Shamil. I don't have a choice for that, but I'm interested to see the old guy against the young hot prospect.
That's my lock of the week, by the way, is Dawkins. Yes, Dawkins. I like him money line, but I am going to go finish as well. Look at his record. Last 4 wins. He's on a 4-fight win streak, all by knockout.
He's murdered people, yeah. And Shamil's
all
been
in the
off
first round too.
Off the shelf for a while. So, that one interests me a lot. So,
and this fight has been canceled twice already. This
Yep.
is the 3rd time around, and I just think we've got one fighter who's on the rise and one kind of on the regression. So
and he's still stayed in that top 15, Shamil. So he's just
Yep.
hanging around. So
I think there's value for Dawkins.
Yeah, I
can't
argue with that one. A couple of my favorite fights on the card. I really hope Hack Parast and Hooker still get to fight. There was some issues on both ends with the visas. Hooker's okay. Hack Parast apparently is like pleading to have that follow through. If that happens, I don't have a pick for that one. I think it's going to be fantastic stand-up war. Marab Davalishvili, talk about him a lot. All decision wins, but the guy's an absolute animal. He just comes forward. He has all this pressure. Marias obviously hasn't looked good. Don't have a pick for that one either. I don't really like the value on either, but I mean, Marias could definitely win that at +200. I really do think he could. It just depends on the health of his after his surgery, how he's come back, and hopefully that conditioning's there. If not, he's going to get steamrolled. My last pick is I actually like a value pick here. I like Cynthia Calvillo to upset Andrade. Andrade throws crazy, heavy, and she actually puts too much power into her punches. And I think Calvillo's smart enough to avoid that and make this a grinded out kind of a takedown ground and pound type of fight. At +200, I love the value for Calvillo. She's fantastic. I think she's underrated. And I think Andrade at this point in her career is a little bit overrated. I really like Calvillo to kind of control it and make it more of a kind of a grinded out fight as opposed to just a stand up left hook, power right type of fight. So that's my value pick of the night, Calvillo, money line +200.
Beauty. No, a lot of good winners in there. I'm confident. Looking forward to getting the overall record back to 60% and higher. So yeah, good luck this weekend, fans of the podcast. Please share this with your friends, like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified every Friday with new episodes. And we'll catch you next week for episode 62.
Three quick things, Krons. One, good luck to Tim Shady Smith Friday night at Unified. Good luck to Aaron Jeffery next Tuesday. And if anybody follows One Championship, one of the best welterweights in the world is Christian Lee. He was born in British Columbia, Asian descent, and he's the champion over at One. and he defends his belt Friday. The card starts at 8:30 in the morning, obviously our time. Not sure exactly when that title bout's going to be, probably around noon, somewhere around there. But this is one of the best prospects in the entire world, and would love to see him. I think he's 23 years old. Would love to see him eventually maybe make the move to the UFC. He's 15-3, and he's been murdering everyone. So good luck to him, fellow Canadian. Got a big fight, so good luck to him, and good luck to all you guys with the cashier.
Let's go. Let's get it. See ya.
Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have back for a second time a gentleman that should have already had a contract to the UFC, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but he's got his opportunity at the end of the month here. Jeffery, how's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, thanks. So, been keeping up with all your stuff the past year. Put together a really nice 4-fight win streak, all very impressive in their own ways. And now you get another opportunity at the end of the month here. How's this last year been for you in training and just in life?
It's been great, man. What are we, 2021? Yeah, 4 fights, like you said, 4 in a row. I guess the first fight of that win streak was the year before, but yeah, it's been good, man. Big wins, fighting some high level guys. Picked up another regional belt, so that was pretty cool. And now a huge opportunity coming up at the end of the month.
Yeah. So just speak. Obviously, you're at a Niagara top team, but you have been at Syndicate MMA. When did you kind of make that transition there, and just speak to the levels that it climbs daily? I'm sure with some of the guys and girls in the room.
Yeah, so I was at Syndicate a couple years ago, right after my last Contender Series fight. Actually, I came down here for a month. I met some people. I really enjoyed it, and I always wanted to come back. And then with all the COVID shit going on at home, like we weren't legally allowed to train. We had bylaw officers coming into the gym. Everything was still closed down when I left. And this was at the end of May, and that's when I decided, like, let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere where it's legal to train and whatever. And since I already knew some people at Syndicate, this was the place to come. And it's been awesome, man. Like there's so many high level guys here, like every day, different UFC fighters that I get to work with. So it's great.
Yeah. So a couple of them, obviously, when I'm looking at potential matchups, late notice call ups and stuff. I think I mentioned to you one time, what about Sean Strickland? And I think he already had signed a fight, but that's one of the guys, obviously, climbing the ranks, huge in the UFC. He's got some big wins under his belt now, and just matching up with him every day. How's that been?
It's awesome, man. He's a wild man. I'm sure you see his videos, and he posts some training footage every once in a while. And yeah, he's a savage, man. We've been going at it for a few months. I told him I wanted to take the last few weeks of my camp off from him just so I can go into my fight in one piece. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's good, man, and he's helped me out a lot. We put in lots of work together.
Yeah, and then mentioned the other day too. Saw a great pick with my favorite fighter of all time, Cowboy. Also an animal a little smaller than a guy like Strickland. But what was it like rolling around with him? And
that was cool, man. That was really cool. Definitely one of the highlights of the trip. It was funny. Our first interaction, like I never met Cowboy or spoke to him or anything before. And we were just kind of warming up for sparring and whatever. And he came up behind me and he smacked my ass, and I turned around and he's like, oh shit, you're not Mike Pyle. I thought you were Mike Pyle because of the mullet. And that was our first interaction. I'm like, wow, what a great first impression of Cowboy. He smacks my ass. And then he asked me to do a round, and we got around, and it was cool.
That's awesome, man. What a way to meet someone. Yeah, just so the end of the month here, it's a huge opportunity. Like we said, that everybody knows that. Kyle Barallo, what do you know about him? And how do you match up kind of against him with all the stuff you've been doing to prepare?
Yeah. He's tough Brazilian guy, 8-1 record. A little bit of an awkward style. He's kind of karate-ish. He looks like Machida, the way he strikes a little bit. Southpaw, bounces in and out, like that really wide stance. He's got a jiu-jitsu black belt. I haven't seen a whole lot of his ground game. Kind of seems like all the guys in Brazil have a black belt. So I don't know. He seems like more of a striker to me, but I think it's a good matchup.
Yeah. And obviously, fellow teammate Jasmine fights in a couple days here.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you'll be in the corner there, or no?
No,
No.
no, cricket.
Okay. And
Mhm.
sorry, are you out in Vegas yet, or?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am.
Okay, so
Yep.
you'll be able to watch that though, at least.
I'll be able to watch it on TV. I don't think I'll be able to go in.
Oh, okay.
They don't really have anyone in there, man. It's like a super small crowd. Like COVID stuff limits it. The Apex is already small as it is, and then that's just kind of their contender series thing. Is like they don't want a lot of people in there.
Yeah. So how do you think she stacks up against her opponent? She feeling good, ready to go?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's looking good. She's got a ton of good training partners down here too. Like back home, it's hard to find girls, right? Like there's not a lot of girls in MMA. It's growing now, but it's hard to come by good training partners. And she's got like a whole team of them down here. So yeah, it's been good for her, and she looks good.
Yeah. Well, good luck to her this week. Yeah, and then so we could potentially have 3 contender series Canadians make the UFC this month. So very excited for that. Any last things you wanted to share just leading up to the fight? Like the weights all good. That
Oh yeah,
everything's in
always.
line there. And
Yeah, should be another easy weight cut. I'm sitting at like 199. It tends to be easier in Vegas too. I remember my last contender series fight. It was really easy for me. Like I didn't have to sweat anything. I think I woke up underweight actually, just because it's so dry down here. It can just suck the water right out of you.
Yeah. Anything else new with you at all? Just wanted to share. Just
not really, man. It's funny. Everyone back home keeps asking me like, what's going on? What's new? It must be so cool living in Vegas, whatever. I'm like, not really, man. I do the exact same thing. I go to the gym a couple times a day, eat some food, take a nap. That's about it.
And got this goal in mind, right? Like,
yeah, just one goal. I'm looking forward to after the fight. My girlfriend's down here with me. I feel bad for her. The last few weeks I've been like extra boring. I haven't done anything at all. So after the fight, maybe we'll take a bit of time and eat some good food and have some drinks and whatever.
Sounds awesome. And yeah, can't wait for the end of the month. Big matchup, but there's no like crazy, intricate IQ questions that I have for you, because I know that you're a professional and you've put in the work, and it's just going to work and getting the job done. And I really feel it's time. It's all timing, and it's going to happen for you. So we really appreciate it. Aaron, Jeffery, this is Hooks in MMA, and good luck at the end of the month, bro.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
No problem. You take care.
You too.
Bye. Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have him on again. He just had a professional fight after a little layoff, and he's got another one booked shortly here that we're going to talk about. It's Tim Shady Smith. How's it going today?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate it. So, the last time we talked was more about, not that, it hasn't changed in terms of, working through some things in the past. I'm sure it's a daily thing for you, but it was more about, the struggles that you had and overcoming that, and then hopefully getting back to fighting. In that time, you had that fight, and just how did it feel to get back in that cage, and all the hard work you put together to get back there? How did it feel to just kind of unleash?
Felt really good, like the whole process of it, preparing, all the training, working with my coaches, just getting my feet wet, getting back in there was great. Like I was having tons of fun on the feet. We're banging back and forth, but then, with 1 second left in the round, the ref stopped it due to a barrage of elbows that were getting landed on me. I was definitely good to go to continue to the second round. I thought it was the end of the round. We're going to the second round, but unfortunately the ref made the decision to stop it. So hats off to my opponent. He did his job, and it was a big learning lesson for me that there's no time to rest in there. You got to fight the whole time that you're in there. Yeah.
So just it's hard to know what's going through a fighter's mind. Some people still get nerves when they walk up to the cage. When they get in there, maybe it takes getting hit once to kind of be woken up. Just with the layoff between the two fights, the one that you just had and then your previous one, how did it feel just walking out there, getting in? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, just all the hard work's paid off and now I can just enjoy myself? Or what was the mindset there, kind of?
I felt really good. I felt really calm. Like I got a lot of experience. It was my 29th fight, so just felt like home, you know. I felt good. Like the nerves that I had were like exciting nerves. I was looking forward to getting in there. Everything felt good. All my training felt good. The preparation going into the fight, my warm up backstage, everything was good. I was confident in my training. I was confident in my coaching. And just like I said, it was the ref had a split-second decision to make, and I caught the unlucky end of it, and my opponent caught the lucky end of it. It was just one of those things that's out of our hands.
Yeah, but it was really exciting seeing you back in there, to be honest. And you know, I had I was fortunate enough to help out at the BTC show last night. So just wondering, you know, how they were as a promotion, how they treated you, and you know, just your overall experience with them.
It was good. It was a smooth show. You know, they had a couple of things different with it, with like the promo coming up to the fights on the big screens there, with the interviews with the fighters and like the fighters shadow boxing and stuff before the show. It was a smooth show. They treated us really well, and yeah, they're a good promotion, and I was honored and happy to fight for them.
Yeah. So could we see you fight for them in the future sometime, or?
Could be a possibility if they're willing to like have me out again. I'm going to try and stay with Unified MMA for as long as I can and try and get a title back there and hold it down for my remaining years in my career.
Yeah. Now, remember when we spoke last time, that was one of your main focuses, right? So speaking of Unify, that's where you're fighting next. That's on September 24th. So coming up here, you know, very shortly. You're facing Barang Yousefi. Just wondering what you think of him as an opponent, and how you're feeling going back into this one.
I'm feeling really good. Like I've been putting a lot of work in at Cardinal MMA with Brad Cardinal and my wrestling coach, Justin Basra. I've been working over at Mike Miles with the Jarn Mike Miles and crew Eric Hussey. And I added element Kenny Dussault from Dussault Strength and Conditioning to this fight camp. So I feel a lot better, stronger, faster. And of course, Karina with Grounded Wellness, my massage therapist, been keeping my body in good shape and keeping me injury free coming up into this fight. Me and B-Tang used to train together back in 2013. He's a great guy, very respectful martial artist. And he's a friend of mine, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to come in and make a devastating win. I want to really look good in this fight. So I'm looking to knock him out in the first round or get a TKO in the first round.
Yeah, so something similar to just you going into your last fight against Krako, there's been a layoff for him as well. So, you know, it looks like he hasn't fought in just over 3 years. So did you know that he was interested in a fight? Did your management reach out to him? How did that kind of come together?
Well, before I had the fight signed with Krako, I was supposed to fight B-Tang.
Okay.
And he accepted the fight, but then when it came time to sign the contract, he talked it over with his coaches, and they figured he's been sitting on the couch for too long to take this fight. So now he's had the proper time to prepare for this fight. And so now we got it made for it to happen on Unified, which I'm happy for. I'd rather win a fight against someone who's been training and who's more well prepared than win a fight against someone who's kind of not really been training and just coming in off the couch after a layoff. Like, I'm not looking for an easy win. I want to have a hard-earned win. Yeah,
and you know, you don't want to face somebody that's like you said, it hasn't been that sharp, and you want to beat somebody at their best, right?
That's right. I don't want them to have any excuses when they're done. Just like my fight with Matt Krako, like I have no excuses. He was the better man that night. There's an unfortunate event with the ref's decision, but he did enough to have the ref stop the fight. I'm not trying to take nothing away from him.
Yeah. So very excited for that card. The card's actually fantastic, top to bottom. I'm excited for all of it. That's going to be this Friday, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So
a lot of wicked fights on this card.
Yeah, really good. So just for anybody listening, where can they watch this fight, the fight card?
The show sold out, unfortunately, so you haven't got a ticket to watch it live at the River Cree. You catch it on UFC live on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah. Do you know what around time you're going to be fighting, or?
Fights usually start at 6, and I'm the co-main event, so I'll be fighting probably around 9, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, very excited for that this Friday. Tim, we really appreciate you coming back on. I try to keep up with a lot of the fighters, what they put in leading up to fights. Like a lot of the casual fans, I think it's just whatever they do within those 15 minutes or less. But you really been putting in a lot of work. I have a ton of respect for everything you've done, and I'm really hoping you get that W this Friday, because it'll be well earned, and we'll be rooting for you.
I appreciate that, man. I put in a lot of hard work for this fight, and all the mistakes I've made in the cage before, I'm going to definitely be meditating on them and remembering them before I come in there. So I'm coming in hard, and I'm coming in for an impressive win this fight.
I can't wait to see that. Tim Shady Smith, this is Hooks and MMA. Good luck, bro.
Thanks, brother. Have a good one.
You too.